Hey, what's up, guys? It's Blur here, coming at you with a story that I was kind of thinking of the other day. So, this story would be pretty. It would be a sequel timeline, between the second and third movie. So the story is that it would be a Padawan, right? Yeah. He would his master would have been killed at the Battle of Geonosis, and he would have fought at Geonosis and gone through it all. And then, as you know, they in Clone Wars, they kind of lead their own divisions and stuff like that. And it kind of comes from that idea. But what goes on is that as a Padawan, he can't really be in charge of the whole division or anything large like that. What instead they do is they give him a little company, and they have him and this company of troopers go behind enemy lines and into planets and stuff and sabotage things or recon some things. And I pulled up a picture of this guy's. His name's Thomas Black 1, on DVR. And I knew I wanted the armor to be kind of a dark color. And this is just kind of something I found so you guys could look at something. Why I go on. I thought it was cool. You'd kind of want it dark for the recon stuff, and the dragon. It was a really cool design. So in the story, at the start out, the Padawan, kind of he's real friendly. He doesn't really get down by the fact that his master failed. You kind of figure that out why as the story goes on. The clone troopers, when they first meet him, they're very stiff. They're very follow protocol type things, and they all have the generic, just plain white phase 1 armor. But as the story goes on, they do a couple missions together. There's the part where they're escaping, been found out, and so they're trying to get away, and a clone trooper gets wounded, and as they're all running away, he's kind of in the back of the pack, and he goes down, and everyone keeps running. But the Padawan goes back for him against the shouts and yells from the commander of the company. I don't really have a name for him right now, I kind of want to keep the names in the Padawan open to anyone who wants to take this a little bit farther than just the idea that I kind of have, because I've got a, Anyway, so he goes back for him, and he does save him, but he gets shot while doing so. And when he gets on the transport, Clone Commander kind of looks at him and says, like, "What the hell are you doing?" The Padawan just kind of smiles up and says, "I was just saving," or he's just like, it's kind of a response like that where he's just like, "I was just doing my duty," or something like that. But so the clone troopers kind of warm up to him. See that he doesn't see them as just like exposable, as tools to be thrown out in combat. And so then the clones start to develop kind of nicknames for each other, and the Padawan gets to know them, and eventually they start to mark their armor like so, and maybe he can have like a name that kind of like resembles dragon or some kind of reference to dragons or something, which will tie in to the armor, which is a really cool design. Anyway, he gets there, and so after they go through missions, show them bonding, and then we get to the real head turn. So let me just give me 1 second to pull this up. So in my head, I thought of the ending, or I thought of the beginning part. That's why I'm all right, here we go. So I had to read it down. So here we go. So for the end of the movie, we would have the clone troopers burst into the Padawan's sleeping area. He's sitting there meditating. I should probably mention this now. So through the movie, we kind of discover that the Padawan is his master is big, kind of like Qui-Gon Jinn, about the will of the Force, and there's always a reason for anything. So he never really has like he's kind of happy going kind of guy, and he doesn't really fear death or anything like that. He's kind of willing to go out there and do what must be done. So they enter, and they've just given over 66, and he smiles slightly as they come and surround him. He doesn't move at all. and they take aim for him, but he slowly lifts up his hand and stops them, and slowly their helmets start to lift off of their heads, you know. And he looks at him, and this would be the first time that they look each other like face to face without the helmets on the whole time. And he kind of like brushes their helmets, like a show of force, like he could, you know, if he wanted to, you kill them, but he doesn't. And he then puts their helmets back down, and he says, "I don't know." So through this, they talk about how they all have the same face when he asks to see them, you know. And he says, "I don't know what you're talking about to me. You're all very different. You all look completely different people." And he kind of talks to a core group of them, you know. Like, he names them, talks about them, what they've done and stuff. How he's happy to serve them. And he goes, I was very glad to serve as your brother in arms. And then they start shooting him down, kind of A-list Sakura style. Not as in like they all kind of like shoot at once, just one shot for each of them. And the camera would kind of pan out as they walk over to him, up into the ceiling, and then it would fade to black. And then it would cut to the clones being back in LAAT, I think is what it's called, the transport, you know, they all stand in. And they're going over Coruscant, and they would look down as they fly over the Jedi temples, and they would see bodies of the Jedi and Padawans kind of being carried out and being thrown out across the ground. Kind of graphic, you know. Kind of dark. And wait a second, there should be, I forgot to look it up. 1 second. There would be a song that I had wanted to play. Oh, bingo. If I can find this real quick. It is. It would kind of be the ending song, right? You know, they're going home, kind of looking at each other, you know. So I can't really like play this song because, you know, YouTube's very iffy about that. But you know, then they would all look around at each other and kind of like, obviously they don't have their helmets because they're all crashed. They kind of have this look on their face of like, you know, what's going on? What have we done? Type stuff. And then once again, it would fade to a dark screen, and it would cut again, and they're getting more. They're getting different armor, and they're being put into a stormtrooper armor. And one of them goes to put some black markings on it, yeah, as they've done before, and they're stopped by a commanding officer they don't really know. Kind of saying like, "Hey, you can't do that. We're not clones anymore. You know, this is different. You don't look. You've got to look the same." Kind of look around at each other like, so "This is where we're at now," you know. And then they move on, and then they're at a place, and they find out that the company is being broken up, and they're all going different places. Stormtroopers, you know. So they kind of all look at each other. Everyone's just following orders around them, just going straight where they're supposed to. And they're the only ones kind of standing out in a crowd, not moving. And they all kind of give each other like a look, kind of like final goodbye, and everyone starts to walk off. And then it's just the commander, and he kind of looks around and kind of puts his head down as he's sad, and then slowly starts to walk off towards the transport. And then it would slowly fade to black, and you know, all that good stuff. So yeah, that was a, you know, jumble of an idea, but I got it out there. You know, you can take it and transform it. You know, it's just, this is all kind of free reign. My brain, I just kind of like want to get the stories out there and stuff. So yeah, I'll probably either put something up tomorrow, Who knows, man? This is like one of the first videos. So this is blurry. Popping off.